all right. Welcome to Epic Gaming here in now dark Portland, Oregon. We're back to normal Pacific Standard Time here this week. But this is the last week of Opus 10 constructed here at Epic Gaming, and we're joined by two illustrious commentators, Alante and Nolan. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Who are going to be sitting here today and giving you live play-by-play commentary as we go to round one with Ian and Junior. Gentlemen, take it away.
We'll have to.
Oh man, the roll, and I'm excited for this.
Yeah, this should be an interesting one.
Good to go.
No.
I know Junior's been talking about how he can't wait to stop playing Mono Water, so.
Stop playing Mono Water, but Mono Water is
Yeah.
always a powerhouse.
He's seen some really exciting cards from Earth, actually, in Opus 10.
Ooh, Water Earth. I don't know what would be the goal?
I think he just really likes the C card. Okay. Yeah, it looks like,
Classic Marsh.
yeah, he's playing his super aggressive Mono Fire deck.
Ooh.
Just expect him to not play
What did he
pretty
do?
much any backups.
Ooh, that is aggressive.
Yeah, he really likes to drop 3 forwards at least on turn 1.
Now, well, I guess with the wool out, a 6-cost Fanfrit is not that bad, but this is
A Famfrit doesn't hurt him here at all. I'm actually a little surprised he didn't drop the Soul and try to get in. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
tells you that the remaining card in his hand may be extremely important to him. Like it's either like it may be another Aegis so that he can drop the.
It could be an Aegis. It could also be a red mage that he wants a surprise attack with.
Yeah,
I
but
would
again,
be
he just
surprised
doesn't
to
play too many. I mean, those are the backups he plays are
Mhm.
basically Sage and Red Mage.
Mm-hmm. Now, I feel like Water has the best chance of winning in this matchup.
This is a good matchup for Water. His worst matchup is any deck that manages to tutor up a Shantoto by turn 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Especially if they can stall some blockers on the way.
Ooh.
That's a... Okay, it was
That
two.
is-
I thought it was 2 Laylas, but it's a Layla and a Polearm, so it's okay.
Oh, no. He is setting up for a very good Lena.
Yeah. Yeah, he has the Lena in hand already, so he knows that's what he wants to build towards.
Definitely.
While he's definitely digging for a Viking for the other Layla that's currently in his hand. Right now, it's all about setting up his backups, so that's where Mono Water always wins their games, right? Is that they get to get their resources online.
There's the Lena.
And that tells
Lena.
that tells you what kind of pressure he's under from this
Yeah.
Mono Fire deck. Because
Not very much.
if he didn't have an on-curve backup, he couldn't afford to do that. See, there it is. Yep, he was
That's-
holding on to Aegis.
Oof.
So he's got a big board now.
Yeah, but he can definitely afford to go the 4 damage, and Water has... I feel like Water has some of the best EX bursts.
Hmm.
So...
So this is an interesting
It's
question here.
very
I think
risky.
the correct answer might have been to actually block the wall, because I don't see a Warrior of Light that I would care about him getting back in his break zone. He has a Lunith in his break zone, and I think that's the only one. So I would be fine with him getting that back for now, rather than... Because what you really don't want is for him to be able to
Oh.
cash it in for another Soul or for a Warrior of Light. That Fanfare wouldn't have been as good, I think. That would have been a really bad play. This Cognazo is going to be extremely important. His best call is to actually just play this Cognazo now and block. Because he
Wait,
can shave off a guaranteed damage every turn with this super annoying blocker.
True. what is this other card?
Nicole?
Nicole. Now there's a card I haven't run into very much. Do you remember what it does?
Nicole, when it enters, you pick 2 forwards that your opponent controls, and they get minus power equal to the number of water backups you control.
Ah, okay.
So it's not very helpful here because he has to stack the effect with like Cognazo. So he's playing out the Minwu because he really wants to buff up his knight. I think
Well, it also gives him like 9 infinite blocks. He really has to go for the top.
Yeah, but I think he really
Oh.
should have kept the Cognazo and maybe
Yeah.
ditched the Nicole.
I think I would agree with that.
Because Cognazo, a lot of people kind of forget that Cognazo, they always think about the board wipe. That's the only thing they get tunnel vision on. But when you're playing a deck like Fire and Cognazo is just staring you down, it's incredibly obnoxious because you just can't deal with this card. He does. Now, Ian is playing one of the only cards that can answer it, in that he's playing Neo Bahamut.
Yeah?
Because he ditches his whole hand all the time anyway.
I I was rooting for Junior, still am, but I think he's in a very rough spot.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he gets out of this now. He's got a Yuna, but the problem is it's very likely that Ian has a haste option next turn.
Yeah, and Yunaing anything, it's just not.
Well, it's not even the bounce Yuna. It's the summon in
Yuna.
in cheapening Yuna.
Yeah, the end cheapening.
I believe that's a technical term.
I mean, that's a great one. But I think the problem is there's no Porum on the field, and one Layla down means less likely to hit the Porum, so it's kind of a
well, you can see
easy
that.
pitch.
I think that's part of that imperfect information Junior had starting this game. He could have kept the Porum on that first turn, knowing he'd be under this kind of pressure, but he didn't have any summons at the time either, so that's a really tough call.
I think I would have gotten the Layla, assuming I would get a summon eventually. Like, you don't get a summon at the first 7, 9 cards. You're
off the
bound
Lena.
to hit one.
Yeah, off the Lena. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Did I say Layla?
Yeah.
There was also a Layla in there, and surprisingly, we haven't seen a Viking yet.
So another Lena here can get the Porum back. That's pretty good.
And with one open, and then I believe, I don't think there's enough.
The problem is
to get something and play it off the Porum.
Correct. Well, actually, no. He can get back Bismarck and play it.
Oh.
Because he will still have one card in hand.
And have enough to chump any of the attackers.
But that's not going to work because what he really needs is he needs this Godot, Gadot, however you pronounce this guy's name.
Just
he needs
gone.
that gone before it attacks.
Yeah, that cannot attack. I often forget about like that haste thing until it like basically kills me. Usually it's just like, oh yeah, free thing. Yeah, cool guys.
Yeah, so I think here he has a chump blocker that gets him the Bismarck. Bismarck can let him block again with Lena.
Unless he has the Exile Bahamut. In which case, that's just GG. Barring a really good X-Burst. I am actually surprised that we haven't seen the X-Burst yet.
Some of the mono water decks now, it's a lot harder for them to run the number of the X-Bursts they were before.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Porum and maybe 1 or 2 Kuchulain and Merlib and Fampret, and that's kind of it.
He can afford to take one more hit. So the other cool thing I think he can do, if I remember,
Bismarck is Lena?
Yeah, Bismarck is Lena.
I think, can it bounce your own forward, or is it only bounces monsters?
Or is it a monster? It's a monster, that's right. So it's half a forward, bounce a monster.
I think it can.
Third.
Actually, no, I think the third mode is bounce your own forward.
Huh.
So
that is an option I never think about, ever. As he looks it up, yeah, the Lena. Ooh.
Wonder if any of the chat knows, actually. That'd be interesting to find out.
Chat, help. Will be an X-Burst. Oh. That Viking would have helped a lot. I think it's at this point where I see even more of the power of Viking.
Yeah. Yeah, there's never quite a... You always realize the power of Viking when you don't get to play. You're like, wow, that card would have definitely saved me.
Ooh, I think a Marsh is just going to seal it.
Yeah. March?
Ooh, and gets... and sees a Terra, and he has 2 cards in his hand.
He gets his Warrior of Light.
Just the Warrior of Light. I like that there's been a resurgence of Mono Fire.
Yeah.
And that there's different variants of it. There's this like weenie version that I sort of tried back in like Opus 4 or 5, like Fire Water, but also like the big forwards with the 14 package. That, when I played against it, I was always dumbfounded and impressed.
Yeah. They're trying to determine Warrior of Light's power here because it gets buffed by both Godot and its own ability. Its own enter the battlefield ability.
More than enough to kill things.
Yeah. So March now gets haste.
Has haste.
So he's forced to block using Bismarck to protect his Lena by having Godot's power, whatever. And then if he blocks with, he's going to attack with Wall afterwards, most likely, and then get the kill with March.
Haster.
Yeah.
This is a GG moment.
Yeah. He'll just take the hit because there isn't a way out of that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the power of that aggressive deck, especially when you're not expecting it. I had a pretty terrible game against him on stream a couple weeks ago where I thought he was playing his longer game combo deck.
Yeah.
So
And
I
then
just,
you're like,
turn one, I discarded a Shantoto.
oh,
And
that
it was pretty bad.
Now I'm surprised they haven't given Fire more like Leaves play triggers. I like how they phrase Veritas, just so that Fire gets more counterplay against
Well, I think
Shintoto and things like that.
a lot of people have been very sort of like surprised. Some of them unhappy about it. Some of them very pleasantly surprised by Mono Fire's resurgence, as you were saying. But I think Mono Fire has always been on that verge of being good. It was just that, as was very clear, like every card that was almost good enough had some little caveat on it, making it just a little bit weaker and unplayable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they're talking about, oh, Nail really did it, or that like it's the new summons that really, like if Frida kind of puts it over the top with the summon heavy build that's been floating around. I think Mono Fire's resurgence started specifically with that march.
Really?
Because
yeah, I was looking at 5 and basically picking one in a Mono Fire is insane. All right.
Cool.
It's glad to know that they're having fun.
Yeah.
That's definitely not how I thought that match would go, but I appreciated it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a rough matchup. If you, like, Mono Water does have an advantage if it can get those 2 backups on turn 1, maybe. Yeah. And resolve the Viking.
Ooh, but that's so risky knowing you're up against Mono Fire. It's like, can you actually have a non-forward situation ever against Mono Fire?
I think you can if you have Yuna. If Yuna's one of those first backups in particular.
Okay.
As long as they're sort of like 2-cost backups, you're not ditching 2 cards to play Minwoo on turn 1. Then you're against kind
and
of
we are
mid-range
now
versions of
live with
Fire.
Table 2. It's underway currently.
Okay.
Justin, or Austin leads Justin 2-0.
Whoa.
Okay.
All right, so we got Fire Earth versus Ice Fire. Ooh.
Is that Fire Earth? I think that's Earth Wind.
Earth Wind.
Yeah. So this is
I just got ice in the brain.
this is kind of an interesting situation here, actually, because Fire Ice usually wants to close this game out well before their opponent gets to 5 backups, usually while they're still floating around like 2 to 3 backups. So this game has gotten to the point where Ice Fire actually has a full set of 5 backups.
That's insane.
And an incredible board. You have
And
Lastwell,
has
Genesis,
4
and
cards
Lock.
in hand.
Now, there's a Noctis here that's a problem.
Yeah.
But the Noctis is not as devastating because he has Edgar available. And even if Noctis does get to take something out, he has Shadow to punish him for it.
Oh, I see.
So there's a lot actually going on this board.
Ooh.
And Fire Ice is, although they really like to finish that game out, when they're only on 3 backups or less, when they're at 5, their game plan becomes one of the most like efficient of all of them, because all their cards were designed to run off of a very small number of backups. When they can start dropping 2 big effects a turn and attack with Lastwell and Dole Freeze something, you start getting really insane stuff.
Now we got a Stoll on the field. I think that's a little bit of a turner.
Y'shtola is a problem because Lastwell can't Dole Freeze it, but the answer is effectively to Dole Freeze everything else, so that he has to block the Lastwell with the Y'shtola or the Genesis.
And the other weird thing I find with playing Wind against it and with it is like how many times you don't want Zidane killed and you do want it killed. Like your opponent does not want your Zidane killed.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to play another one. It's just going to hurt like hell.
So this is a big one too. So now, this is going to depend on whether or not, if Austin has something like a Diabolos to activate his blockers.
That would be intense.
Because if he doesn't, and Justin gets through with Lock and Genesis in one turn.
Ooh, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, this is...
But you would have to kind of pair that with, an Edgar special.
Yeah, so he pushes in with the Lock first because he's got the Edgar to back it up. I'm always rooting for Ice, by the way. Like, Ice is my favorite. So.
Yep. Ice Wind.
I always want. Ooh, he hits a quality card.
Nice.
Takes out another Galdiz. Austin's got to make a tough call on what he discards.
Now, how often? So he is playing Earth, which means usually means that he
Larcacious.
has a monster, right, in his big zone.
He just discarded Larcacious, so yeah, he's definitely playing monsters.
Oh wow. Yes, this is one of the few times when I see someone maybe not choosing the random discard, as strong as that is.
Yeah. He's been leaving the Star Sybil up, which is kind of interesting. I'm surprised he didn't use it on his turn when he was facing a board like this. And I'm wondering if that meant that he only had something like maybe Camelot He's probably looking to use it on like Athena. But
Oh, the other interesting
here we
thing
go.
that maybe his opponent hasn't seen. Can you remind me if Minophilia says any light or dark card, or is it just an opponent's light or dark card?
It is any light or dark card, I believe.
Because
that's
another
worth checking.
interesting piece of tech here is being able to break your own Galdes for whatever benefit you want, as well as replay a 5th backup, which is the problem that I see like anything Earth and or wind running. Ooh, is that Nefrita I see?
Frida.
Or
No,
is
that's a
that-
Belias.
that's
It's the
a
one-cost
Belias.
Belias, which is, you get the best modes. I mean, haste is
yeah.
good, but he doesn't need haste right now, so this +1 first strike is really, really good. Obviously, he makes the right call to counter it instead of just dying to combat damage,
Yeah.
denying Justin a card, so now he gets to swing in with the Genesis. Oh, no, never mind, sorry. He removed the Genesis. I didn't see the effect that removed Genesis. That's my mistake. Well, so he's still got the last well here to keep the Galdas frozen, which is... Or he's deciding right now if he wants to discard something to use Shadow to take out Noctis. Because that was the effect that happened, was lock hit, and he wanted to use Noctis to fight Genesis, I believe, and he discarded 2 cards to make it so that, or discarded a card and tapped 2 to make it so that Noctis's next damage was reduced to 0.
Now I wonder what Mr. Austin has
Now why?
left in his hand. Now, should Justin be afraid in any way of a crackback of any sort?
At 3 damage against Earthwind, it's not a concern. They're not playing that much haste. If he was running up against one of the builds that was running like Ilua or something,
Surprise Adele.
yeah, that's more of a issue. But this is not. This is clearly like a monster build that's trying to go for a more grindy advantage, like card advantage type game. Like Austin really wants to resolve something like a Luminous Puma or a Layak right now, and start recurring it.
Oh man, a Layak. I love that Layak kind of single-handedly says, no ice.
Yeah.
You don't get to do what you want.
Take a second and think about what's going on here. And I mean, Lastwell is one of the best answers Ice has to Layak because you attack with something else first, and you get to maybe ping with Lastwell in the next attack, but you start losing attackers. So yeah, Justin's still looking to get in here with this Lastwell, especially because he still has Fire ready to use for Lastwell's activated ability.
Definitely. And
He's definitely going to keep the Galdas tapped. He doesn't care about Noctis blocking. Noctis blocking is kind of a win-win for him. But now the problem is when Lastwell hits, Noctis can take out the Furion.
Which actually might work out in his favor. Maybe he has a Fury in his hands. Like boom, boom, boom. Take out something else in the end.
It's possible. He may also just have... Yeah, he may just have enough burn somewhere else in his hand too. But it looks like it's all backups to me. Which is why he's considering slow rolling this turn. Because he can just... next time he needs to attack, he can keep the Galdas frozen. Or he can dull freeze the Galdas again.
Now, what do you think is the right play? Because I find whenever I come up against Earth anything, is to just be as aggressive as possible. Otherwise, you're in a place where like they just have bigger, better forwards and sometimes summons than you. You're just like, how do I get over this giant hurdle? I'm suddenly at like 6 damage.
Okay, so he is going to keep the Galdas frozen. He's going to accept the loss of the Furion.
Ooh, Death Gaze.
But he is letting Noctis take 5k. So is there... I don't see anything in his hand. Oh, he's got a lock in hand for an unblockable attack.
Ooh.
But his opponent's only a 2, so it's not always good to cash that in early. Especially when he can get the discard later. His opponent does find a way to kill this first lock.
I mean, it might be effective if he uses the Star Sibyl and he just like brings his hand count down. Because whatever that last card is definitely going to be something
important.
he prizes.
That's a tough... Ooh, Vincent's
Ooh.
hefty here.
Oh.
That's going to take out the last well. There's no answer Justin has in his hand for that.
And
so, yeah, this is where the game starts turning in Earthwind's favor.
Oh,
Oh.
yep. There's Zidane always. Oh, so that is
Yeah,
two
so he did.
Sages, a VV.
He did have a 5k burn, but his backups were
Oh.
full. And that's the other problem this deck runs into, is
Oh,
that it doesn't
man,
have a good way to
bottleneck.
cycle through its backups.
Is he gonna take? Is this the one where he takes an extra point damage? Do 10k?
I believe it is, so he's just
Ooh,
making that decision
worth
right now.
it.
That might be worth it to take out the
The
Noctis,
yeah. Noctis is a huge problem.
especially with another Noctis already in the break zone, forcing him to have to recur one to get another one in play. May be his best option here. I think just in general, he's in a really bad spot right now with a handful of backups.
Most definitely.
If the 2 cards he draws here are forwards, especially if one of them is something like Nail, then he can get back into this game. Again, because Nail would let him start getting rid of like Cyan and Setzer.
Ooh, he took another point.
Yeah. So he did the burn, he took out the Noctis.
Definitely had to.
That looks like a Nail,
Ooh.
but now he's hiding it from us. Doesn't want us knowing his game plan.
No, you think he's just got a lot on his mind.
I
don't know if I would have.
Yeah, I think I would have left the Edgar up.
Especially because your opponent knows what you have, and
It's not worth it
it's
to bluff the Edward if you don't, especially when you whiff that hard.
oh
That is rough. So I was sitting here saying how Nail could save him, and Nail instead abandoned all hope.
So in this case, he made the right
He made the right call.
cost-paying choice.
I still actually disagree. I think he wanted to keep the Edgar up to protect Locke.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's pointless you only bluff the Edward when you don't actually have a better option. Because he doesn't have an Edward in hand, so he's only bluffing it right now. We know he just has, especially because his opponent uses it.
Yeah, his opponent knows.
I mean, he has one mystery card in his hand right now, but his opponent's not going to. Maybe he manages to convince his opponent that it's another Edward, but he just saw one go to the break zone.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Now, I love that, at least when it comes to Earthwind, how good Vincent is.
Mm-hmm.
If Wind Earth could play a 6th backup, they would, always and forever. It's always just a really fine line they're walking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Earth always really, you're right. Earthwind really likes to cycle through its backups, and Vincent giving them that tool paired with removal is really valuable, especially because it's straight.
Well costed too.
Yeah, and it's straight damage removal, which is actually something that deck has been missing after the Dodaluma ban.
Yeah.
So he got the EX Burst Fury in to take out a Zidane. That's not bad. Like, yes, again, it opens you up for another Zidane, but everything in his hand is hot garbage, so he doesn't really care. But the fact that they're backups, he's got a little bit of gas again now because he has the Nail, so he can use Nail to take out Vincent and play Sage, I think, was one of them.
Oh, that's right.
And I think a VV is another. I don't think the VV does much good here, but...
And what does the Setzer do?
Setzer lets you get back a Category 6 forward from your break zone, and it has EX Burst. So that's why it was kind of problematic for him earlier when he had the lock in hand, and he couldn't just frivolously discard it because his Setzer was already in play. Most of these decks only run 2 Setzers, not 3. And I don't know the state of his break zone if he's got another Setzer in there.
Well, that Setzer's definitely some cool tech. I will have to remember that the next time. Put together a wind anything.
Yeah, there was Setzer and Edgar were what really made this Ice Fire deck possible. In fact, I remember seeing there was a running gag for a while that Setzer was a mistake because it always let people get back that 7th hit lock.
Now, let's see. Ooh, Norstalin. What did he get?
With Norstalin, it's most likely that he got either, is it Lael? Is that the guy's name? The one that counters summons? There's Lael, there's, and then his other option may have been Waltrill. Those are the 2 you're usually looking at with this deck.
Now,
sometimes Charlotta if they're playing something really exotic.
Well, at a 5th backup, do you think that was worth playing?
That's a good question. I don't know if he has other backup cycling cards in his deck other than Vincent. But yeah, there's decent chance that may choke him on the backups later when he wants a really good interplay effect like Ijudo, Margito, or something.
I mean, he
But I
still
guess
has
he's
the
playing.
Star Sybil and
Yeah.
the Minfilia, but once those are away, he'll be earth choked.
Yeah, Minfilia is so awkward. You definitely don't want to use it on your own forward unless it's life or death. But
I mean, okay, versus ice.
Yeah.
I would make the argument that it's a great time to use it against your forward because they,
They're
this whole
keeping it
game he's
frozen
locked it down.
sure. Yeah, I still don't know if that Minfilia can target your own stuff. I meant to look that up, and I got distracted by reading YouTube comments.
I love these.
Google's
kind of games.
auto-completing Minfilia Opus 6 because I've been searching for it so much. Yeah, you can choose any dark or light forward.
Perfect. Now let's hope Austin realizes it. Maybe on the next freeze, crack it, really kind of get in, because he just needs the 7 points of damage. But it's unfrozen, so
Yeah,
less of an issue.
unfrozen.
Or
Nail's
after the
still
attack.
bigger than it, but Galdas gets to take down the nail as part of the option for when it dies.
Let's get Star Sybil way off to the side, so he's ready to crack that and put something into play.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Most likely targets here are something like well, it's not a Veritas, obviously, because he doesn't have a Chaos in play. And
Could
it
it
can't
be
be
a
Camlanot
Vaughn?
either.
Oh wait, it has to be an 11 card, doesn't it?
Well,
Does it?
no, it doesn't have to be
No.
11 cards. It just has
Just
to be
costs 5 more.
6 or less.
Okay.
But
So
he
a Vaughn
can't
would
play.
be great.
Yeah, Vaughn would probably be... Vaughn may be his best option here, or Athena if he has 3 big cards in hand. Then Fina's the best. But I just find it amusing that he can't play Camlanot now because he's got this Galdas.
Galdas, yeah.
So you may see him trying to kill his own Galdas.
Ooh,
Or we get to see what he really wants to play. This
Oh.
case, I think it is definitely going to be Athena.
this is gonna hurt.
Yep. So-
Really, I'm surprised
Well-
to see Athena in a non-mono wind.
No,
Honestly.
Athena has been really, really big for the Earth Wind decks,
Mm-hmm.
specifically because you can cheat her into play with Star Sybil.
Oh,
So-
and then just pay the 3 extra that way.
I believe they said
oh,
you
it's
can't do that.
uncast.
I think
Yeah.
they defined that doesn't count. But you get to
But
do
you
that.
get one of the.
So you get to play that brand for free, drop in
Huh.
the Athena, get all your stuff back, play another Star Sybil, go get Shantoto or Camlanot.
Whew, that is intense.
Yeah. And you get
Oh, then you
Shantoto.
got Shantoto.
So now even if Justin manages to start getting through again, Austin has a reset button ready to go.
Yeah, I'm not sure, especially at 6 points, how Austin or Justin can stabilize.
I don't think it's possible at this point. He did draw. He's up to a full hand right now. We know that several of them are backups, but again, he has Nail ready to burn if needed. Ooh.
Oh, and then the Stola to shut down a possible Zalera or.
Yeah, he can't burn the Stola,
Mhm.
and he doesn't want to block here with the Nail. Oh, or he could give it first strike. I think he should have given it first strike there.
Oh.
And I think if he's gonna let this happen,
Are you-
after he lets that non-first strike happen, I think he should
Oh.
have sacrificed backups to burn something.
Oh, definitely.
I think that may have been 2 key mistakes.
Really? You're not going to go in with a Vincent?
He
I find
wants-
that surprising.
And this is another reason why he maybe should have done that, because now he can use this shadow to take something out. He could have removed 3 forwards this turn.
Ooh. Now this is the hard part when you're playing at 6 damage.
Yeah,
The tunnel vision gets very easy.
yeah. So he could have blocked, given Nail first strike, and I believe it's first strike. It's like plus 1k in first strike, right? She has so many abilities, but I believe one of her abilities is sack 1 backup to give her first strike, and plus 2k or plus 1k, and then she has sacrifice or exile 2 backups to do 8k to a forward. So he could have had Shadow ready and sacrificed the Cyan and Setzer for another burn. He could have done a lot with that Nail
Tapping the Edgar.
and opened up a lot of space for all these backups he's been stuck with in his hand.
Now, what are you going to play?
He may be playing another Nail.
Another
okay.
nail.
He's gonna spin the wheel.
Oh.
Nail, Genesis,
Oh.
Castalian Emperor. So we
I
got a
mean-
little bit better that time. Genesis is relevant here.
Oh, wow. I kind of assumed that Nail was fire forwards.
No,
Any
it's any
forwards?
forwards.
That's
So-
insane.
It's a very, very good card. This Genesis,
This Genesis might.
I think he has to tap down the Fina. The Gabranth isn't relevant yet. It's only going to do 5,000 damage.
Nice.
Okay,
VV
yeah,
killing
VV
it.
gets the Gabranth. So yeah, now he definitely, if he wants to cast a Genesis, I think he should. I think he should definitely cast Genesis.
I don't think he has another option.
I think you Genesis the Fina, force him to decide on the
Force him
Y'shtola
to do the
attack with lock.
Shantoto. Going to combat.
Yeah, he wants to swing with the lock here, and
Yeah, he knows
Make him
Shantoto's
decide.
coming.
if he wants to keep the Shantoto and whatever the other card is, or let his Y'shtola die. In this situation, I'm probably going to let the Y'shtola die.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
You're
making it unblockable.
Oh, interesting. Putting them at a very curious placement.
Oh, and he got a Luminous Puma, so that unblockable damage may have actually been more important than we thought. But
And Puma's usually a one of.
I think that's a really interesting decision as well, because you kind of want to keep that lock to just play it and get that discard. But it looks like he's valuing the damage, and he wants to force Austin to exile his own forwards if he wants to play the Shantoto. Especially because Austin's only option for cycling his backups right now is Star Sibyl. So he has to put something into play, or waste Star Sibyl's ability, rather, and then play Shantoto.
Which is, oh man, that is quite genius.
Yeah. I believe with Star Sibyl you can fail to put something into play because it's from your hand, so it's a hidden zone.
A Layak, interesting.
Layak's good. I don't think
Huh.
it's particularly great here because he has 2 cards in hand, so he may have something like a Diabolos. We still haven't seen any summons from it. So he may not have any.
Yeah.
He's going to get a card off the Layak as well.
It's very, so he only has 1 card, which we know is Shantoto, right?
He has 2
Does he have
cards.
2? Okay, so maybe he does have a summon for pre-Layak.
Alright, so
something.
Justin's not tapping Setzer for some reason. That's a weird decision. You always kind of want to leave your action backups ready. And it looked like it was a considered decision. Okay.
Interesting.
So he can get a lot of discard
force
here.
it.
He can sack 2 backups now to kill Fina.
Oh, and hopefully get rid of a.
So he's going to try to do something to save her. This may be the Diabolos.
Oh, and this is where
Mist
you
Dragon.
hope that you.
Mist Dragon's on the stack. So he's trying to make it so that Fina doesn't take damage this turn, or isn't broken by damage. Doesn't take damage until end of turn.
Does he sack 2 more backups to do it again?
I think.
Is it worth it to make him discard and get rid of the Shantoto? I would, but I am a crazy, aggressive kind of player in this game a lot of the time.
I think in this case I might actually do that as well. Especially because he still has 2 backups in hand, I believe. And he's running low on cards. He doesn't have time to mess around.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's willing to just give Sid haste.
Oh.
So he's going to pair Sid with either his lock or his Genesis for a party attack, most likely. And so that even if the nail attacks here and isn't blocked, he gets to threaten a discard attack.
But he has to do it now before the Layak, right? Or do you think
take
he's
out the
really
Fina?
gonna? Yeah, he has to do that to
Well,
make
Fina
sure he
won't
gets
take
rid of the Shantoto.
Well, no, because Fina won't take any damage now anymore. Actually,
At
that
all?
was that's a problem because Mist Dragon says it doesn't take damage till end of turn now. So Layak is going to untap it.
Infinite blocker.
Yeah, so he should have used Nail to take out the Fina in response to Mist Dragon. And I think he's just now realizing this dilemma. Because, I mean, Mist Dragon works in a very strange way. It doesn't prevent a single instance. It prevents the damage for the rest of the turn.
Yeah, and is that just a quirk of Earth? Because Wind has that, like, remove the damage that was on
Yeah,
it.
the one time. Or prevent the next damage. But, I mean, Earth has that prevent the next damage as well, in, like, Gabranth. But I think that may have been a key misplay. See, he's checking Mist Dragon because now he's very concerned about that.
That is an amazing piece of tech.
And
It's
now
like
he
I
realizes
would not have thought of.
there's not really a good answer here. I think you just back off and try to survive another turn. Because an attack won't gain you anything. Unless he's banking on. See, yep. And for a second there, you could see maybe he was hoping Austin didn't know, but he was pretty sure Austin knew how it worked.
That is an incredible, not wombo combo, but a wombo keep me alive.
Yeah. So even if he gives Nail
Forcing the
first strike here,
pass.
it won't work, unfortunately, because Fina won't take damage until the end of the turn now. So he does pass the turn. Austin gets a chance to really take a breather here. He's got a Layak ready, so he can do.
Ooh.
He can take a really insane
And
turn.
there's
And
the
there's a
Vaughn.
Vaughn.
Oh.
Will he whiff? And he whiffed on Vaughn. So
Oh.
there's your 6-cost 8K, ready to win the day.
So unlike fire, it has to be a win for it, right?
No, it can be any 3-cost forward.
3 cost. That's what it was.
He
Small
only got
guys.
he only got the trigger once because he wasn't at damage 5, and he whiffed. The only card. So what have we seen from him that would have worked? There were Noctis in the deck. There was Zidane, Larcacius, and Ishtola. And he's run through a lot of those cards. He may not actually have more than 1 or 2 copies of anything
There's
left
no
in
more
his deck that Vaughn
Galdas.
can hit.
Yeah. There's
Oh, that's right. Galdas was there as well. Well, there may be one more Galdas. We've seen 2. Oh no, the other one's
and
in
it's
his.
definitely less likely with the glut of monsters that he most likely. I assume that he's dividing by like
Yeah, I think
5 spaces minimum.
I think
to
that Vaughn actually may
monsters.
have been a miscalculation because a lot of his 3 costs are gone, and you may
Or-
not have checked to see how many were really available.
Yeah. Well,
so again,
he's
he has
also not. Yeah.
he has the Layak, so he can just start swinging and see if Justin's willing to block and sacrifice backups. Why? Oh, yep.
Ooh.
He's buffing his lock just in case, which is interesting.
Okay.
So he's willing to lose the Sid instead of a single backup to buff Nail. That's very interesting.
Oh.
So why is he
can go
willing to
with
do that?
Stola.
I think he's reading a Diabolos here. I think actually blocking with lock was the right call there. It's 1K per. Yeah, there we go. He's using Semi-Lafina's ability to tap 2 wind and 1 colorless to burn for 1,000.
Nice.
There we go. So he's using Nail's ability to protect her. And I don't know if that was if Austin forgot about that or if he was just really hoping to starve Justin of a couple of resources. So he's gonna 8K Vaughn. Yeah, so okay. The Fina's gone. And then he just accepts the game's over because they've run out of turns. Nope.
That was an interesting game. I wonder
Yeah, that's
what would have happened with more time. I assume Austin would have won.
I think Austin was in kind of a bit of trouble too because he'd run out of recursion, it looked like. Justin got rid of a lot of his recursion cards very early. That mono wind engine, they're super dependent on a single card, which is Yuri. Whereas before, Yuri was just kind of like it would finish the game off.
Yeah.
And I think now they're very vulnerable because Yuri removal has improved. And that was one of the things. That there wasn't a lot of good answers to Yuri.
And even
that also
adjacently
were good against other things. Yeah.
Like we've come a long way since Zalera
and Shantoto being the only options.
Yeah.
And I guess Rydia, if you were really going to enjoy that her S ability, that Opus 3 Rydia, where you can just use Earth Summons to activate it.
You know what
that
card,
one's always fun.
You know what card I'm very excited by for some particular reason is the Ifrit that does AoE damage and buffs.
I like that Ifrit a lot.
That is insane.
I really like all of the sort of the classic named summons in this new set. That one cost Titan that lets you choose 2 options out of 4. It seems insane.
What?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's a hero, so it's like it's not gonna be hard to get a hold of.
Yep.
And it has 4 modes, and it only costs 1. And
That's insanity.
they're decent modes. Like one of them is just give forward plus 1k, another one's just draw a card.
Just save a forward.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Ooh, giving Earth the ability to inexpensively cycle is dangerous.
Yeah, I mean honestly, I think the Golem from Opus 8 or Opus 9 was actually a really good card.
Ooh, all right. We got Josh
so we
versus
got
Richard.
Richard versus Josh. So we may seem it's either probably likely going to be FF7 or Lightning Ice or something from Josh. Looks like
I'm
Lightning.
expecting to see Warriors of Darkness versus Typo.
I think Richard's definitely playing Typo.
And he's
Josh from
quite good at Typo.
What do we got in his hand? It looks like Mono Lightning. Oh, it may be Dragoons.
Ooh,
I
oh
think
my god, Dragoons.
that looks like it might be Water Lightning, so it may be Dragoons or it may be... Is that Gramps? I think he has Gramps in his hand.
No way.
Yeah, it's definitely Typo.
Definitely Typo. Typo is
Typo
an amazing...
But he's got a
deck.
Shantoto.
I mean, why not? You want all the colors. You
Well,
might as well.
He's playing... So I've seen his build before, and he's actually... Watch out for... he's going to have Wall and Shantoto in there. So, that Opus 5 wall that was so terrifying for so long. So it's Ice Lightning.
Ice Lightning. I'm excited by this. Kuja has been one of my favorite cards since it's been printed. Just everything about it is amazing.
Yeah, so this Ice Lightning may be... I don't know if it's if he's going with just a general big dudes deck, or this may be his FF8 build, which he's had some success with in the past, where he likes to get the safer Maya... engine going.
Oh. I am very shocked
There's
that
Gramps.
Richard
Okay.
does
So
not
this is
play
a
more
three-color deck.
backups turn 1. Not that I question anything he does. He's constantly winning games.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that, like, I find
Well, he really
particularly
values...
amazing.
Yeah, he really values cards in hand. And I think that's because he was so long an Ice player.
Yeah. Yeah, playing Ice really teaches you a lot of the aspects of the game, and timing. Timing's a big one. Ooh.
Is he willing to toss? He's going to toss the Belias to cast the Ace. Oh, no, he's going to keep the Belias. He wants to keep Ace. He wants to have some protection for his Ace. Oh, whoa.
Oh, he's ditching them
Oh, another
to play
ace.
Ace. Ah, haha.
Okay.
There we go.
That was very confusing for a second.
Oh, I
right,
was
so
scared he was going to whiff that. Oh, I see. He's got a nice little Sarcil package. I wonder if he's running Layak.
Is he going?
Like all good wind earth shells.
Yeah. Do you think he gets the Queen here, or he gets the... Yeah, he wants another backup.
Oh, yeah.
And Queen just doesn't do a lot here anyway. Yeah, I think he's trying to dig towards 3 backups so he can efficiently cast the Shantoto, and he's willing to just leave Ace back as a blocker right now, which does
A
surprise me.
protected blocker with Belias.
Yeah, with the Belias, he has protection for it. I'm kind of surprised that he threw away the other Ace if he was looking at this game plan. But maybe he just decided, he looked at the elements in his hand, and he decided that he needed the other cards.
Yeah. Ah, there we go.
So this is how, okay, him discarding 7 is really interesting as well, because 7 is one of his key cards. And
Well, against Lightning, I would argue that you definitely prioritize the Shantoto. Lightning incidentally has all those forwards that Link are just a little bit harder to get. So that Shantoto is really gonna do some work.
He may regret ditching this 7 if he can't use the Snake Bite to protect himself from something, because
Like an
Josh has a
Lewis special.
Sephiroth in hand. He has... And he has Fusoya in hand is the other thing I was about to point out. These are 2 cards that 7 is very good at protecting herself from.
Oh my god, and everything in his deck is super high cost.
He really wants to take out this Ace.
I'd say on average it's going to be 4K.
Okay, he missed. He
Wow.
whiffed on the Ace. He got 6K. So Ace is alive. I think I would throw Ilua into this anyway.
Yeah. And then here it comes, protected.
There's the Belias.
Oh,
That's fine.
just cycle.
It feels bad for Josh, but that's actually not that great for Richard, because what Richard
really wants cards in his hand to
he wants cards in his hand. He hates that he had to discard for that, and he really wants to play a third backup right now. So he ditched a backup to do that. He ditched that Cater he kept. Or I guess he already has Cater on the field, so maybe he couldn't. Yeah, he couldn't have played it anyway.
I find Richard is always a very interesting and great deck builder. I'm not sure if I would build Typo as greedily as he does, but he makes it work, and it works like a well-oiled machine.
So yeah, he drops a 7 now, but he doesn't have. It's very unlikely that he has the Snakebite in his hand from Josh's point of view, because he's seen another 7 already discarded. Oh, there's an Emperor as well. Emperor is not good in this matchup, I think. It protects you from the Shoal. It protects you from the dark whatever from... Oh.
I'm liking what I'm seeing. That Renoa off the top to flicker, that Fusoya to draw more cards.
That's going to be big.
That is a free Renoa with removal.
But Fusoya may die this turn if he drops another Typo forward.
That's right, the on-attack basically kill with Ace when you're playing a Typo deck. And then having to block, so we'll at least draw like another card.
Yeah.
But it seems like both of them, or at least Josh has all of his colors fixed. I'm going to assume so. And Richard just needs a source of Earth.
Oh, cool. Sacrificing a backup to give Nail only gives her haste in 2K, not first strike. That took too long to read Diley's comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Diley's. Diley's?
Diley.
Diley. Thank you, Diley. I am so sorry. I am butchering names. Thank you. Now, I'm wondering what other little techie things he's running water for. It feels like water's just a cycle.
Well, no, it looks like it's very similar to Sam Prime's deck, if not the exact deck list that won Nationals in the U.S. So it's likely that he's got, we have seen the Cloud of Darknesses, we've seen the Vikings, we've seen the Laylas. What we haven't seen to show that it's the same list is Agrius.
Agrius.
The 6-cost Agrius is a really big part of the deck.
3.
But you notice he's playing a lot of 4-cost cards, so it's very likely he's playing Agrius in here. This Emperor is not a problem for him right now. Emperor is more of a problem if he's trying to finish off the game with Ilua or use a Sephiroth special.
Now here's the interesting part is, like, do you kill the 7 or the Emperor over an Ace? Because you really don't want them to play another Ace. As much as that on-attack trigger hurts, them potentially getting, what, another card or two is sometimes worse.
I don't think you have a choice when your opponent is playing Typo and has 5 cards or 4 cards in hand. He's going to drop. He's going to be capable of dropping 2 more forwards next turn to burn you for 8K on anything you play.
Sure, but so this is the downfall, I think, to the greedier build, is that you're not... It doesn't seem like he has as many Typo forwards. Lots of backups, sure, but I don't know if I expect to see more. Ooh.
Yeah, so that's the reason that he was willing to discard the 7, is because he's running this Asura combo. So yeah, 7's S ability, Snakebite, lets you counter a special ability or an auto ability. So when Josh played the Renoa to flicker the Fusoya out of play and then back in, Fusoya's auto ability went on the stack, and Richard, in response, played Fusoya to get a 7 back from his break zone, discard the 7 to activate Snakebite to make it so that Fusoya's ability was cancelled. Josh, deciding he never wants to see that happen again, plays Cloud of Darkness to take out the 7. I believe Richard is playing, I've seen this build a few times. I believe he's playing 2 Asuras, not 3. So he can do that one more time.
There's the Shantoto.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you save? Do you play the whole now and just get in? Or do you save with Shantoto?
He's in an awkward position because he would have really liked to have had like a a 2-cost backup or a 4-cost backup to play here. Let his opponent maybe push a couple more forwards out on the field or whatever, and then Shantoto that.
Yeah.
But yes, he may need to just... he can't play the Shantoto because he has Camelot. So he can't afford... He doesn't have enough resources to actually play Shantoto. He has to play Wall or Camelot. And the answer, I believe...
is play Wall.
I think I would have gone with Camelot there.
I can't play Camelot.
Oh, you're right. He has the Emperor.
Yeah,
So yeah, he had no choice but to play Wool. And that's a
It's a
like
rough
you said,
spot
he
to
plays
be
greedy decks, and he sometimes gets punished for that. I don't know if anybody on stream has seen his previous Ice Earth land destruction build, backup destruction build, but it was playing something like 11 dark cards.
Seriously.
It was insane.
Was he playing like what is it, Leo or whatever, the one that lets you pitch dark for CP?
No,
No,
that's something with a
full
T. No, he wasn't. He just sometimes he's just like, yep, I just lose. I can't play anything. But if he ever got even half that engine going, his opponent basically never got any backups.
So I
Viking.
would make an argument for attacking with Emperor because you kind of want it dead with a Camelot now in your hand.
Yeah, and it's not doing you a lot of good right now.
And you know your opponent's doing a flicker like enter the field stuff, so
This is
you know Emperor's not really doing much.
so he's broadcasting that he has another Renoa in hand here. Richard has a decision to make if he's willing to just take this damage.
Take the damage.
So he takes the damage, and he gets rewarded for it heavily.
Wow. That's
He goes
brutal.
and gets an ace. So now say, if you ever kill my ace, all you're doing is giving me more power.
Would you do that? Would you get another ace, really?
I would get ace here. He doesn't. His deck doesn't have anything else besides ace Camelot, I believe, for 5 cost and above. So now Josh gets to at least just play the Viking and pretend he's happy with that. So he's got the ace.
I guess why not play the Viking first? I guess you don't really kill anything when you attack.
Richard
But you
shifting his
threaten
cards
a
too quickly
trade.
for me to tell what's in his hand.
Here's I would
Aerith.
pose
Okay.
a question.
Aerith's good.
Why not play the Viking first and then attack with Noah and then attack with Cloud? Cloud is gonna trade with something.
It's likely he would block with Cloud, sure. But he wanted to leave because his hand was Viking or Renoa, and he wanted to leave open the option of playing
to play
Renoa.
Renoa.
Deuce here is really good. So ace is gonna burn for 4k again, and it has plus 2k, so it's a 10k attacker. It's burning for 4 on attack.
Hitting that
Takes
5th
out this
damage.
Viking maybe.
I wonder what damage 5 cards Josh would put in this deck.
Richard's also debating whether or not he wants to play this Aerith this turn. Oh no, he can't play it now because he used his win card to his win backup to play Deuce. He's choosing his wall abilities.
No EX burst.
Hmm.
And I will give.
I find the no experience very presumptive in this matchup.
It's
Like,
not good.
once
It
you
was
see, once you see the Renoa, I find it safe to assume that you're not going to hit EX bursts.
it's unlikely.
Maybe a Kuja.
There are a
That's
couple in the deck, but the Kuja's one of the only ones.
Maybe if it was wind and you're scared of a Yasmod or something. But
Yeah, I think plus
Outside
2k
of
and Brave
that.
was the right call here. Probably actually buffing the ace for Brave and
definitely.
giving Wool plus 2k. So ace can attack for 10, and then Wool can attack for 10, and then ace is ready to die on block. So he did it the opposite way. I would have had.
Ooh, it hits a Renoa.
Josh still has the one in hand. It would have been pretty hard to play 3 Renoas back to back anyway. So I think he's probably okay with that. I think I'm very interested. I'm very curious to see if he has an Agrius in this deck because that may have been why he was off to such a slow start. Because the deck really explodes when you get to 2 or 4 backups and play an Agrius.
Scale Toad, interesting. Just because everything's such a high cost, you think, or
Maybe. He may also be expecting more grindy matchups with this deck, and Scale Toad really shines when you can slow the game down. But this Type O deck can just dump forwards.
Yeah.
Even on 2 backups. I mean, Richard's been playing at least a forward and maybe performing some other action every turn.
And he found his second Shandoto.
He had the second Shantoto a while ago. It was when he couldn't play it, when he drew the second one. So there you go. Deuce is dead. Everything's back down to a more reasonable, manageable size.
But he's at 6 damage, so every little thing really counts.
Wow. So he gets to tutor. He can discard this Camelot to go get.
Oh, that's insane. Okay, so that card alone kind of helps ease the greed. That's insanity.
So he's gonna go get another 7.
Oh, okay. Does that telegraph that he has like another Asura or something in his hand?
I don't believe he has another Asura in hand, but he may want Josh to be worried about that.
Yeah.
And obviously, if he just draws into another one, that's gravy as well.
Mhm.
It's just good to have half that combo ready to go.
Definitely.
It's one of the best things about playing a game where you draw 2 cards a turn, is that you can always, as long as you have part of your combo, you can feel pretty confident you'll get to the other half at some point, given enough
That
time.
and discard doesn't feel so bad.
Yeah.
It can be obnoxious, sure, but it's oh.
Okay, he'll play Braun as a forward.
Thanks, Richard.
There we go.
Thank
It's
you,
Layla.
thank you. Okay.
So he's discarding the
Oh,
Braun.
Okay.
Ditching.
Probably. There we go.
Okay.
Get back a Viking.
Okay.
Draw a card.
Draw some awesomeness. Come on. I wonder what he
Some
drew.
Water card, I think. He's still got a Renoa that he can't play. Oh, Kane's good.
Ooh, there was a snow there.
He'll pay. He'll discard 2 cards to pay 3 for Kane, so he can sacrifice his lightning back up to burn this ace.
Ah.
This is not actually that
Would
bad
you
of a
do
plan.
that, or would you just? I guess he already attacked. He did get the snow. I guess he must have drawn the snow.
Yeah, he just drew the snow.
Okay.
The taking out the ace here isn't the worst thing in the world. It's not great,
But you know he has another ace in his hand, so it's really not.
but he's still only on 2 backups. If he had been on 3 backups, it would have been a really bad decision.
Oh, we drew. Oh, and there is the Asura. Oh,
Yep. So
that is a feel
does
bad
he
moment.
have?
But
Does he have
doesn't
another win
enough.
card in
I
hand?
don't think he has another win card.
So he can't do all of it. No, he has the Aerith still, doesn't he?
Yep.
Yep, so
there's
he can
2 win
do-
cards. He has enough.
He can play the whole combo this turn when he needs to. But I actually don't know how good it is here. He might just have to Shantoto. This is a big board.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, Josh has been on the ropes here, but
Yeah.
now he's more than happy to chump block with Renoa or
Mhm.
Viking or Layla or whatever. Probably, but definitely it's going to be Renoa, because then he can play the Renoa next turn for a guaranteed removal.
He also doesn't have to Shan. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But I was just thinking, just then, I was just fixated on how he doesn't have to Shantoto at all. Because he has to block. Just has to. And it's going to trade up. No matter what, it trades up.
I mean, I would attack with both and then Shantoto.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
always
for
going to be
sure.
my plan when I'm going to Shantoto, is I want to get my forwards in my break zone. The only question being
That's
whether or
right.
not it's better to let mine get exiled because I want my opponents exiled as well.
Yeah.
Like, say Josh had no other Vikings in his break zone. In that case, he may just Shantoto now to try to keep him from being able to comfortably Layla. Yep, Renoa dies. Josh is more than happy to lose that.
He was like very excited
Finally,
to do
it's
that.
been 3. He's wanted
over
Renoa
the,
to die.
Over the,
And this game blocks with the Viking, gets his card,
yeah.
digs a little bit.
I wouldn't have made the second attack, so he wouldn't get the card. Unless it is a Leaves play trigger, right?
Yes, so he's still going to get the
So he
card no
still
matter
gets
what.
the card.
Here comes the Shantoto.
Boom, and all colors have been fixed. And
Yep.
I think the
So
ace
Richard
is
still
in his
has
hand.
ace. He's ready to reload. He still has the ace and the Asura. Oh no, he discarded the Asura. So he may not have the Asura play open to him anymore.
It's less of an issue now.
I don't know that he has any other way to recur a 7 from his break zone. So 7 may only
Two
be used.
sevens.
Yeah, there's 2 7s in the break zone, 1 in hand. So he may only have ace available as the anti-blocking tech now, which is still good because Josh's deck is mostly high-cost cards.
Mhm.
That Renoa that Josh really wanted to play is looking a lot worse now.
But I would argue
And
I
he'll
would just
pass
play
turn?
it. I would just play the Renoa.
Oh, he's not passing turn, he's looking at the break zone. I think he's mostly concerned about Queen, or I think Queen is the only haste card he's seen. And it takes a lot to give Queen haste.
Yeah, that
so
requires like what?
I think
like
you need 5
three-
forwards total.
5 forwards? Oh, I thought it was 3.
And they all would have to be typo.
Mm.
Whirlwind. Oh,
Okay.
this is cards, but
Really?
he's got to be getting low on his library count or deck count here. And he discards another snow.
And doesn't play the Renoa.
Playing Renoa here doesn't do anything. If anything, he's considering whether or not he wants to play Squall and Renoa next turn.
Hmm.
I think I might have actually ditched the Renoa to play the snow.
Definitely.
Like,
Just made some kind of threat.
he's been too low on resources, in my opinion. He hasn't seen another Alua in a while either, which is how, if he had had an Alua left this turn, it would have really gotten him back in the game. Yep, so here's ace.
Here we
Richard
go.
says, I'm going to draw whatever I want. So he's got Rem.
Ooh,
He just has the two options.
two.
Forced, he has to get Rem and
Price of Greed.
Deuce, I think? Or no, is that just 2 Rems?
Yeah, I think it's.
I think
two
that's
Rems.
I think that's Rem. It's hard to tell. I think no, actually, I think it's Deuce because he likes playing 6 of the deuces, even though he can only have 1 in play because he likes the S ability on the back end.
What does that S ability do?
It does something based on the number of typo forwards you have. I think it does 2k for each typo character you have, maybe? It's either
If it's
character or
then
forward.
that's amazing. Comments help us out.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh, and then puts down the 7th threat.
Yep, so there's 7, so Josh
That's
knows
just gonna.
there's a good chance he can't just rely on a big forward now. Anything 4 or above can't even block.
And he has 2 cards in his hand. That is just.
Yeah. Squall will only dull. It won't freeze. So he has the Fusoya to kill the 7. That's
Which
big.
Has to force.
He's digging more, though, to do this.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if he even has 10 cards left in his deck right now. There's Agrius, finally. And he has to discard it. 5.
Ooh.
Well, that's pretty dead. I think he
And
just
then
did
I think he has
9,000 to a
enough.
4,000 forward.
Ooh, do you bounce the ace now? Oh.
Nope, he'll shoot the
and
ace.
Noah.
Wow, I can't believe you actually got that on.
Richard
So,
with the
we'll
wow.
see. 6, yep, it's definitely
Whew,
gone.
that's
And
a-
big,
and then
he
has
just drew
an
big
Alua.
guns. He drew an Agrius and an Alua.
All right. This game has gotten a lot
I think
more
he
even.
has-
This is crazy.
Is there still one more Alua left in the deck?
Yeah. There's one in
So
the
he
breaks
can
down.
shoal. Well, oh, that's right. He has Hurdy anyway, so he can already shoal. So Richard
What?
has, yeah, Hurdy lets you get back a FFTA2 forward.
Oh, that's gonna be brutal.
Yeah, so to your
Ooh.
hand, so you can have
Yeah.
her in
So
play
he
and
just needs
just
to play Alua.
shoal whenever you want.
Just needs to play Lua and one other forward, and that could be GG depending on the experts.
It could be, and Richard's doing the math right now. He realizes that he may be in danger of just getting one-shotted, well, half one-shotted here. He could be in danger of taking 4 damage in 1 turn. So he's looking to get some forwards out now.
Or if he happens to draw another snow, that would be enough to really kind of guarantee some damage.
Oh wow, he really only has small forwards in his hand except for this king. He's got 2 5k forwards, 3 5k forwards, and 1 8k.
Well, I mean, that's enough to get you through like 1 turn.
Yeah, but they're all gonna have to chump block.
Yeah. But to no advantage. Unlike, Porum.
Yeah.
Porum is insane.
The Rem,
But
I don't think the Rem tutors him up anything useful here either. All of his aces are gone.
But maybe he could trade up with the Semilafina.
Semilafina, he
long
doesn't have enough
shot.
resources to do that and play
That's a
multiple forwards.
Shot.
Because it costs 3 each time you use Semilafina.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have, like, he would basically have to leave 2 backups up to get an efficient use out of that. Which means he would have to lose his whole hand and only play a 2-cost forward this turn. I guess he could discard a typo to play the king for only 2, effectively. But
And that But he knows Aluna's coming.
yeah,
That changes so many things. Or he just plays straight up the Agrius and really just be like, nope,
he's
you
gonna
played
go.
your Shantoto, that's enough. Like,
He's gonna go for the Rem, probably tossing the Gabranth.
oh,
I don't know what he gets here. I don't think he
I don't
has
think
any
he
good
has
options.
anything.
He has Queen. If he had like
Unless he only has 1 queen.
yeah, 8 would actually be a good card, but I don't think he runs 8 outside of title. I think he
there's
has
the
to get Queen.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny that 8 would actually be a good card in this matchup right at this moment.
That's unusual to say the least.
Yeah, it's not typically a good card right now. So he gets Queen.
But is that going to change when 10 comes out, or is it going to be about the same?
I think it'll be the same. 8's still not going to be particularly good. This Queen doesn't really do anything. He would have to discard. He's probably going to just discard the Queen to play King, so that he can keep the sync and try to maybe force some blocks that Josh doesn't like. But that's a long-term plan.
Yeah.
That's 2 or 3 turns down the road where you can start doing that.
And Richard does not have 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah, he's really kind of run out of the gas for his biggest forward, and you can hear him say,
Yeah.
"This sucks."
Oh,
So there's the
that's
king,
nice.
using that ability on king to play him for the cost of only discarding a typo card rather than
So
paying
good.
4.
So good.
Yeah. I mean, and king has the ability to say a forward can't block, but Richard just didn't have the ability to attack and finish off the game there because Fusoya was tapped. I think that's what he was trying to figure out, is if there was a way to play queen and get king down at the same time. And of course, he was about 8 resources
quite.
short of pulling that off. And 8 resources, 2 forwards. It was a long ways away. But when you know that there's a slight chance, you sit there and try to figure
Gotta
it
try.
out.
2 cards a turn. That slight chance is a lot better.
Yeah. So Josh here, now he's in a much better position, but time is running out. You can see looking at his deck, it looks like he only has maybe 3 or 4 cards left.
Oh, then he's also on the same clock. He has to force some damage in.
Yeah.
So maybe playing like a bunch of these small forwards was the best call.
He also has the risk here where one of his best cards right now is an Agrius, which is going
just
to dig
gonna make it-
again.
Yep.
And especially... Oh, no, there are 2 Aluas in his break zone. Okay, so I was going to say he would have to decide whether or not to play Alua before Agrius,
Oof,
but
that
okay, he has
is-
5 cards. Nope, 4 cards.
4 cards. All right, you got.
So Agrius is scary to play here because it means you're cutting yourself off of a whole turn.
But yeah, but he only has about a turn anyway.
No.
Like he has to force these forwards to be
Yeah.
gone.
Actually, you know what I think he's doing right now? I think he's checking to see if he has any 3 costs left in the deck, because maybe Agrius
Oh, maybe he
doesn't.
gets the. Oh yeah, both Aluas are in the break zone, so he can't hit one of those.
Yeah, if he that would actually be almost ideal right now to have
Yeah.
Agrius whiff, just to get the 9K.
Oh, good call.
So you could play Agrius and Alua really easily this turn, and not if Agrius whiffs, then he still has his 2 full turns to attack. Next turn he can maybe get in with that shoal.
Oh, Shoal's an insane S ability.
Yeah.
Everything about Alua is insane.
Yes.
Like I think it's been a staple lightning and reason to play lightning for
Squall's
a long
big.
time.
So now he can attack with his Fusoya
Oh, okay, all right.
and leave back the Renoa as a jump blocker. Richard just takes the hit.
damage.
loses
Interesting.
Ishtola. Ishtola would have been really nice for him, since all of Josh's deck is auto abilities and damage and burn.
I think I would have played the stall game at this point, counting the cards in his deck.
Mm-hmm. No, just chump block with the Rem. Yeah, I think I may have as well. But again, you're looking at 3 forwards next turn,
Yeah.
and he saw that the Alua was there last turn.
Yeah,
So he knows that, maybe it's better to block or take the damage now so that you can block later.
That's a very good point.
Because in neither case you're going to get to trade, so whatever.
Now, is there anything beneficial to Cater at all in this situation?
Cater will let him deal damage to a damaged forward. It can do 2k to a damaged forward or 1k to a forward. And both of those will require him to use another resource. So I think he's going to stay away from that. I think he's going to look at playing this queen to try to dull the Squall.
Oh, all right.
And now he's going to see if there's a way to get through. He can attack with king,
And
and Renoa has to block, and then Rem can get through for the win.
oh,
And I think Josh just didn't see that was possible, because he tutored for the queen last turn.
that was
Yep.
I can't believe
whew,
you actually
that was a
got
high level game.
There was a lot going on there, and I think Josh just lost track of it. And I think I'd be pretty hard pressed to say whether or not I would have there. There's a lot going on, especially when you're you know that you're running out of time. You feel like you have to push some damage through.
Definitely. Once you start seeing those cards, 2 cards, you go into full on kill everything mode.
I think he was really frustrated being on 3 backups the whole time too. If he'd gotten up to 4, it would have been really easy to start doing stuff like play Alua, keep up Hurdy for Shoal, and just everything gets a lot simpler.
Now, what I am personally curious of is if Richard's deck was less greedy, could he have ensured that win
Earlier.
even further?
Maybe. The Shantoto did save him though, as soon as Josh did have a really big recovery. So now we've got Earthwind versus Mono Fire Warriors of Light. Earthwind Monsters versus Mono Fire Warriors of Light. I think
Ooh, I don't. This is going to be an interesting one because if he can somehow, it depends on when he draws the staple, the Shantoto.
yeah, because Austin is running Shantoto and Star Sybil.
But I feel like once he realizes he's playing Earth, he's going to slow down.
Yeah. What did he discard?
He only discarded wind cards. That's a nice little hiding
What was it? Diabolos and.
Diabolus and Y'shtola.
Okay. Yeah. And so he goes
but
and
he
gets.
revealed the Earth. So
Yeah. So he's not getting Kolka. He's not. Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah. Those were the 3 options for FFCC. You can hear Ian asking him. Kolka, this king dude whose name I can't remember, Estivian or something like that.
Oh yeah.
He tutors
Esteban,
for
maybe?
yeah. He tutors for an FFCC
Yeah.
forward, or Lael, which is the one that cancels a summon of cost 4 or less.
I mean, he must have a very Earth-heavy hand. I don't know if I would have revealed Earth that early. It's amazing what revealing an element does
I don't
to
think.
affect your opponent's play.
I don't know how much it really affects Ian. I think he's going to push no matter what.
Oh, definitely.
Especially when he's got the turn 1 march ready to help him do that.
He's going to push, but
Oh,
he
he's-
might prioritize, Ag Grace into a
Interesting.
hasty forward over...
He decides to take the imaginary warrior.
Interesting. I don't remember what that... Oh.
It gets stronger if your opponent has more forwards. It's like I think it gets plus 2 or 3k. It becomes like a 9k if your opponent has 2 or more forwards.
Maybe he didn't want to...
Wow, he whiffed with his wall. I don't think I've ever
Interesting.
seen that happen with this deck. It can. He's only
there's
running like
not that many
16
Warriors
warriors
of
of light
Light.
or whatever, but
Not that
15
many
or something.
good Warriors of Light
Yeah.
and Fire. There's enough to make it worth running.
well, you think he should be running that 3-cost Lunith that buffs your standard units? Gives them haste. So
Doesn't
good for
it
this.
say forward?
I think
I think it says forward.
If it gave backups haste, that'd be interesting.
Your
It'd be
backup
pretty
would
hard
have
to
to do
take
something
advantage of it.
amazing. Yeah.
You'd have
You have to like break and do something awesome.
Yeah, okay, so here's Larcacious with no monsters in the break zone.
Interesting.
So he's not playing it yet. He just wants to have it ready for when he finally pitches a Layak or a Luminous Puma.
Yeah. Or just knows that it's a on a fire build. You don't see
Yeah.
you see 2 forwards and no backups. You know you're gonna be in back foot.
Yeah, he's got a lot of cards in hand. He's debating. Oh, he's going to take the 2
Passes
hits.
The turn. Interesting.
But we all know that Earthwind is loves getting all their EX bursts. So there's
Ooh.
Aegis, Soul gets in with haste. And
Oh,
okay, I thought that was
hits
Star
in the
Sybil for a
expert.
second.
Oh, it wasn't. It looked
No.
like Star Sybil.
It was Apururu.
Whew.
Oh, he manages
And
to
hits a
dodge.
Vaughn.
That's
Oh,
3 good hits.
Hitting a Vaughn versus this kind of mono fire is
Yeah.
kind of insane.
Yeah, Vaughn is actually one of his biggest concerns here after Shantoto, because if Austin even halfway stabilizes and then plays a Vaughn, that's a lot of forwards to climb over. So right now, Ian's trying to get this kill next turn. Austin's got to make some tough calls here. Is he just going to have to discard 3, or does he have 3 cards to discard to play Shantoto? Does he have Shantoto?
He kind of has to have Shintoto or like a forward that might.
He actually has enough cards in hand if he had Star
Sybil.
Sybil.
If one of his backups is basically a, nah, you can't block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has enough to play Star Sybil and Shantoto in one turn.
Oh,
But he has to go
wow.
down to 1 card to do it. But it's the right
worth it.
call.
It's worth it when he has no cards in hand.
Yep. So that Ian sees how that's like about to happen, accepts his lot
I'm
in life, and tries to
surprised.
reload.
I'm surprised that Wall isn't a Leaves play trigger.
Yeah.
It feels like that would have been a nice little thing to add.
So now Ian's definitely on the back foot here. His opponent has only taken 3 damage and has 4 backups, but his opponent also only has 1 card in hand. So
But
Ian's gonna
for-
reload,
yeah. I wonder
and
what Ian
Austin.
drew.
This looks big. There's a Vaughn.
Oh,
Is he gonna
is he
whiff
gonna
again?
whiff? I think it's whiffing.
Oh, he got the Vincent.
Oh,
No targets, obviously, but at least it was a body.
That's gonna be hard to push through.
That's not one that
No.
concerns Ian that much, actually. Just a blank 7k is not much of a problem for the Warrior of Light deck. So he's going to play Godot and threaten these hasty attackers. But Austin's, I think he may have just had enough time to recover here, where he's not that concerned anymore.
He could sit back and look pretty.
He makes a series of taps that I disagree
Oh.
with to play the Zidane. I always keep that Star Sybil up. But he may have like a Layak.
Damn. Now, if that EX burst was like a Bahamut or something.
Yeah. I think Ian
Ooh,
can
and
see
a
the writing on the
Layak.
wall here. He is playing a deck that he knows if he doesn't win in the first 3 or 4 turns, it's almost impossible for him to win.
Yeah.
And you can see him, he's kind of smiling about it a little. He's just like, yep. Oh, there's a depth gaze on the Godot as well. That's hefty.
It.
Yeah, Ian's in a lot of trouble here.
Always play your outs, though, because the X-Burst can always change it.
That's a big one. That's
a great one to get back.
Because wow.
Oh, wow.
All right, so he just went up to 4 cards in hand. He's got 6 in hand next turn.
He could do a serious crackback, but Layak makes that a lot more difficult.
So he's got double Neo Bahamut's, which you can do because it's part of the resolution effect to discard your cards in hand.
Really?
Yes.
That is very cool. I hope that they give Fire more stuff like that. I think that's a very cool little effect.
Yeah, so Ian gets a little ahead of himself, thinks the warrior has haste, but yeah.
I'm sure both sides would have been very happy with that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But now, so Austin, he still has the Layak. He still has a Star Sybil to cheat something into play. He's down 2 Vaughns. There's 1 Vaughn remaining. But we haven't seen, what he's really looking for is Camelot. He can land Camelot and keep it around for a turn.
And there's not really much.
That's a big hill for Ian to climb.
Although all Ian really needs is like a very good Archangel human hit.
Yep. Ian accepts the writing on the wall.
Good games, man. Good games.
Yeah, Austin did a great job of recovering there.
All right.
So we got Austin versus Richard. So Earthwind versus Typo Cadets.
Dun dun dun. Oh, I'm excited to see this.
Actually,
these are both very greedy decks, but I think
I have to hand this to Typo.
Really? Because I'm thinking Earthwind has this in the bag.
I think Earthwind has some very good options here, but the one of the big things that Earthwind relies on is it likes to sometimes just buy a turn by hanging back and blocking, and 7 makes that almost impossible.
But all he needs to do.
But he doesn't. What are his answers against 7? He only has Shantoto and Vincent.
But also the
Layak. Fina, actually.
Fina and the Layak Mist Dragon is enough to really put a big damper on things.
Mist Dragon is a big problem for Typo, but
Mist Dragon alone, he has all the Azuras, all the things like that. Like he dedicated
But he's also playing Mist Dragon, so he can counter Mist Dragon with Mist Dragon.
But we saw that his Earth count isn't that high.
It really isn't. That's why he's trying to resolve that Shantoto.
Risky. As soon as possible, really.
Austin does have, again though, because he does have Fina, he has that 80% board wipe where he gets to take out all those little 5k Typo characters.
Ooh, starting strong, straight up with the Star Sybil.
It goes for Semi-Lafina.
He's just fixing all of his colors, just straight off the bat.
Discarded a Wool, a
Gabranth,
7 and a Gabranth. I think it's a 7. Because it's a forward.
Oh, that is right.
Yeah.
Is Austin running Alexander?
So he knows Alexander or Hecaton. We haven't seen either. I don't think he's running either.
Hecaton has
But maybe Richard knows something we don't, because I believe these guys play test against each other outside of the store.
But overall, I feel like in this latest meta, Hecaton has fallen far out of favor.
Hecaton's still used, but it's hard to argue using it over Alexander in some cases. But it is very strong in any build where you're still running like Vanille, because she's just super obnoxious to remove.
Oh, Vanille Naga Sisters deck, just like, yeah, I want you to try to remove something. That seems like a very obnoxious. Oh,
I thought it was another Star Sybil. That would have been funny.
Oh, a Minfilia always feels
doesn't
so
get the
good.
Shantoto.
Well, I assume that he has like 2 more.
He's got. We know he has at least 2, but I think
But it's also Earth. Like, he just needs a minor or to break Minfilia, play another one. There's so many ways to get that back.
Yeah, but the problem is 7. You don't want your opponent to, like, you're trying to surprise them with the Shantoto. Force Richard to hold all these cards in hand to use a 7 ability. Or at least be able to play Fina and then follow it up with 7 once he removes Fina or something like that. I like to hold on to Shantoto until I get a second Shantoto. And then I discard the first one.
Sure, I would counter, he's going to play 7. So the odds of you resolving that, like, wipe the board thing is super low.
Okay, so Richard cracks Star Sybil to play his Camelot, to go get Chaos, play Chaos this turn.
To truly fix all of his colors, he is good to go.
And he still has the Semi-Lafina in hand, so he has the ability to go to 2 backups this turn and have a 9k. That can most likely dodge wind next turn. Is probably the element he would choose.
it's amazing because I feel like in Opus ago you would pick Earth
Mm-hmm.
because of all the Titans and Titan experts going on.
So there you go. He discards Aerith and Rem to get his Chaos and Semilafina in play. Now Austin's got some decisions to make. He has a...
Now, is his deck the reason why he runs Emperor?
So
'Cause I feel
Austin,
like Emperor does some work
yeah, it
in
may
this
be.
matchup.
He's been running Emperor for a while, though. Austin looks like he's looking to play another backup here. Which... Yeah,
Ooh,
he wants to
think
play
of
the
Bronze.
Gabranth. He's going to probably get Fina. Personally, I think he should
maybe-
get Fina. No, he's going to
Oh,
get Vaughn.
getting a Vaughn, yeah.
I disagree with that because I think it's just not that good right now. Just draw into Vaughn. I wouldn't
Sure,
try to...
maybe, but also if you know Richard has a Shantoto, you want to force him to use it.
Sure. It's a good reload after Shantoto. But I think I would really have been looking to... I'm looking right now, if I'm playing Earthwind, to when and how am I going to resolve this Zidane that's in my hand?
Or maybe I would have just broken the camel now.
Because if he had played the Zidane this last turn...
No, it says any light or dark. I think I would have just broken the chaos. If you know Richard is running a greedy 3+ color deck,
Yeah.
is it worth it?
I guess we didn't see what the Camelot was. I'm going to assume it was wind. But...
So that can't be broken anymore, sadly, by that.
Yeah, so he could hope that Richard just forgets about it for several turns and then plays an Emperor and then he can
Oh.
blow up the Chaos, but that's
But
pretty
then it'll still
unlikely.
be fine.
Yeah. No,
Camel
if Emperor and Camelot are on the table at the same and they're both dark,
Oh,
when you
Oh,
blow
yeah,
up
yeah.
Chaos, they would take each other out. But then there's Ishtola,
oh,
which he could have...
is gonna save some stuff.
Yeah, Ishtola is a problem because this deck is very reliant on auto abilities and he's behind on forwards, he's behind on backups. He's got a full hand of cards where Richard has none. That's a big deal. 2 Cecils down.
Ooh,
Play Galdas.
Galdas is good though.
Galdas is very good here. He can take
For
out the
what's-
Camelot,
Oh, okay. That would
unless he puts Camelot back on dark.
But even then, that just makes that infilate better.
Yeah,
But then I would have tapped this in Olivia instead.
and this is where he's trying to figure out what to discard to play this Zidane. This is the other problem you'll notice that Wind Earth runs into sometimes, or if they get starved on backups, they start making some really awkward choices.
But that is less.
See, he doesn't want to discard
yeah.
anything. He feels like he needs all those cards.
But with Luminous Puma around, that's less of an issue.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense not to play Zidane there because his opponent had no cards in hand. I should have remembered that.
Well, unless you really want to start and get in there forcing some damage.
Yeah, I just want a 3-cost 7k. Oh, my phone died.
Oh no. Well, let
No
me
more
find
comment
mine.
checking for me, sorry.
We like your comments though, so I guess it's my turn to find it.
You just go to YouTube for
Okay.
Gaming PDX. Okay, Camelot's coming in. Galdas blocks. And he's going to give Camelot first strike, so Galdas on-death ability is not as relevant. Cool. So he draws one. Austin sighs in despair and tries to figure out what he wants to do. He's probably going to have him discard at random. It's at random.
That is brutal. It's a great reason to make it a 3-of.
All right, I said pick. Oh, I would have picked the other card.
No, he picked the right card.
He got
picked the
Shantoto.
Shantoto. But most likely at this point, he wasn't going to play the Shantoto
Yeah, he
anyway.
doesn't need it. Austin's not getting any of his EX bursts that he would love to be hitting right now. But he is building towards his Vaughn. Can't forget that. Although Ishtola is there. Vaughn is worded in a strange way, though, where he gets, I believe, the ability, if Ishtola cancels the ability, it cancels both of them, because it says
Oh, yeah,
do
'cause
this
it's
twice
all-
instead.
It's all one text block. Yeah.
So he's Zidaned away the last card in hand, and lets him tutor up Shantoto.
But I believe he tossed the Shantoto earlier.
He has 2 in the deck, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
I think
Yeah.
he tossed one turn 1.
He may have 3 in the deck.
Oh.
I think he only has 2. So Richard gets a Shantoto off this EX burst from Austin's very first damage, which I'm sure Austin is thrilled about. But
that
he's got a
always
Layak,
hurts.
follow it up.
Oh, that,
He has a Death
that's
Gaze in
enough to
hand.
get him in.
He's going to be looking to Death Gaze this Ishtola. take a couple more damage here. Death Gaze Y'shtola
Yeah.
and drop Vaughn if he can.
It's a win-win if you hit Y'shtola.
Yeah, I think that's what he wants to do. He would really like to get to 5 damage and then Death Gaze Y'shtola and play Vaughn. Unfortunately, Richard, that EX burst keeps him at 3 cards instead of 2, so Zidane is back down to a 3K. Yeah, Richard's realizing this Layak may change things, but he's not. He has to take the risk anyway. Gabranth is creeping closer to becoming an 8K.
What did he
as
draw?
well.
I think he drew Y'shtola of his own.
You sure it wasn't another Zidane? I think it was another Zidane.
It's so hard to tell.
Stop doing that. What? Stop blocking?
Y'shtola.
Oh.
Really? Oh?
Okay, Carbuncle makes it a 7K.
And goes back to his hand, I believe. I believe it's
So-
9K or higher that it would.
What's Richard looking at doing here? I don't. Oh, he's looking to miss Dragon his Y'shtola. Or counter the Carbuncle, actually, would make more sense. He's going to counter Carbuncle.
Whoa. So it doesn't go back into his hand. That's
Yep.
also nice.
Gabranth dies. Y'shtola lives. But
Oof.
Austin only spent backup mana at Carbuncle, so he still has a lot of cards in hand. Yeah, I do see an Y'shtola in there, you're right. So there's Star Sybil for 3. You just discarded another Carbuncle to do that? Okay, so he's probably out of Carbuncles now. Carbuncle is such a good, like, surprise card.
I've always loved using it with, the Legend Min move forward. Have that and a Guardian on the field. Like, whoops, my whole board just got huge.
Okay, so now he's looking to get back his Carbuncles.
But is he doing that just to build his backups, really? I don't see how he's going to use Carbuncles in this matchup.
He can afford to do it, but the problem is, like, he could afford to do it this turn, take 2 more damage, but I think that costs him. He's going to keep the Vaughn for sure. Okay, he's gonna, yeah, he's just going to play Zidane.
Guarantee that.
Take out the.
Take out the.
I actually
typo
might take out.
forward?
Yeah, I think I would
I
take
think I'd
out
take
the
the
Deuce
forward.
actually,
Yeah.
because then Y'shtola is still gonna. He's still gonna have to make plays to keep Zidane at a 7K, or sorry, a 3K.
And this
But
is
no, he decides to take the
surprising.
Shantoto.
His typo deck looks like a straight up like a MMO deck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we haven't
Dissidia
actually seen
counts.
any typo this pretty much this
Yeah.
whole game.
I'm like, where's the ace? Show me the ace.
Actually, yeah, he hasn't played any typo cards this entire
I
game,
haven't seen
despite being a
fire
typo deck.
card.
He has his first fire card in hand now, which is Sync, I think.
Actually, no, not Enter Combat yet. Take that back.
I
no.
love Sync. I think Sync is a very, very good fire forward.
Yeah, it's a great card, and it kind of emphasizes what fire should really be all about. Manipulating combat.
Yeah,
So Deuce comes down here, makes
interesting.
Camelot a 10K, Y'shtola an 8K. So Zidane is up to a 7K now.
He's
But-
regretting that choice. I wonder why.
I think he was just worried about some kind of ping effect, because he could have.
With the similar thing, yeah.
But it wouldn't matter, because I think maybe he forgot that Y'shtola doesn't take damage from anything other than other forwards, which is.
And in a pinch, if he really wants to save the camera, he can sack Y'shtola, I think.
Yes.
No.
Well,
No, it's
Zidane was
good.
never going to be able to kill Camelot, because it was Camelot's a 10K and Zidane was only 7, and it takes 3 to use Semi-Lafina. I guess he could have been concerned about a Carbuncle, but even then it wouldn't be enough. Unless it was another win. No, it still wasn't possible. Okay. Marajudo comes
Alright.
down. It's back Diabolos and Carbuncle, it looks
Okay.
like.
All right.
He's targeting those two. Y'shtola's gone.
That's a nice little
That's worth
bit of
it.
thing.
I'll play a 5-cost backup that kills Y'shtola. So now he's definite. So he takes out a 7.
Check
That's a
that out.
big hit.
Is that the first 7 we've seen? think.
No, one was discarded.
Oh, the very
turn
first
one.
turn. That's right. That's right.
So now he's only got 1/7 left in the entire deck.
So if
And he
can
has no
get off a
Asuras
Mist
ready.
Dragon,
He did
If
draw
he can-
another Ishtola.
if he can get off of Mist Dragon right now, that would be insane.
Mist Dragon would be helpful. Richard drew another Ishtola though, so that window may have passed. And he has Emperor as well.
I will enter combat.
So it's pretty hard to Minfilia a Chaos when Emperor's on the table. So he may have jumped the gun saying that that would be a good play. He's up to 5 damage. Vaughn's ready to go. But he's going to drop this Ishtola to prevent it, and I believe that would be a good decision.
Are you gonna crack it? What are you gonna put into play?
Well, I think he's debating if he wants to crack Star Symbol and put the Emperor into play. Nope, he's just going to
Oh.
play Ishtola. Lock down
Okay.
the game, which is what Ishtola does. He's going to look to put the Emperor in play just to make it even more impossible. Because then he'll have auto abilities, summons, and special abilities and action abilities all locked out.
Oof, and there's the Emperor. How do you come back from that? I don't
You
think
need a lot more
can.
than 4 cards in hand most of the time.
Yeah, you need to be able to guarantee a Shantoto clear somehow.
Yeah, you basically need to use 2 auto abilities here. And that's just not in the cards.
No. Just no. Really? Really?
Yeah, I'll self high five that one. So Austin, he can't use Star Sybil because of the Emperor. He can't use Semilafina because of the Emperor. He can't use Minfilia because of the Emperor.
I mean, I might just use the Star Symbol just to force me to get rid of Y'shtola.
He can't. He can't use the ability on
Oh,
Star
that
Sybil
is
at all.
right. The Emperor's on the field. That is brutal.
So he plays the Vaughn, says, "You want an
Yeah.
Y'shtola?"
Cards in hand.
He has to. He has to.
Yeah, I'll cancel it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right call.
No reason not to.
Richard did not decide to make a huge play mistake.
Pass.
Austin passes
This
with a very
big
weak board.
Old Kaminow is problematic.
So he's basically just going to lose these 2 chump blockers here, most likely. Because even the Emperor is a 9k, thanks to Deuce.
I mean, if this EX Burst 6, if it's an EX Burst that changes the game, if this was like a Yasma,
You can
that
tell.
could really change things.
You can tell Richard's
No,
is smelling
do
blood
that.
in the water here because he's not even bothering to straighten his cards out. He's
Yasma cannot kill Kaminow on EX Burst, right?
it can,
Okay.
but only if Camelot's not
Oh,
wind.
my
Wow.
God. And
That
then
is
there's
Y'shtola, Y'shtola.
Whew.
We knew I think we actually knew he had that in his hand still.
Just
That's really rough.
that is hard to get through.
Yeah, Y'shtola has been a card that I have alternated pretty heavily between liking and disliking, and one of the reasons that I dislike it is it feels like it can make it impossible to come back in a game when you run into a situation like this. The Emperor is the same. They're both kind of feel bad cards for your opponent. We're like, oh, I just don't get to do anything.
Go ahead.
And as an ice player, I feel like I'm totally justified in saying that I should be allowed to do whatever I want, and my opponent shouldn't be able to prevent me from doing the things I like to do.
Just play more things, man. Just play more things.
Yep, he still only has the 4 cards in hand. One of them's a Shantoto, so that's not going to be good enough. Well, no, because his opponent has 6 characters, so Shantoto only costs 6 right now. Vaughn's still in play. Can he at least live through this next turn? Because Y'shtola will have to sack itself, or it just dies to the Shantoto either way. What else does he have? A Galdiz is not going to be good enough. He looks like he's going to play the Galdiz and maybe try to buy another turn. He might. Well, if the Galdiz dies and gets him back a monster, he's got another turn. Oh, okay, Y'shtola. I don't know what the other card in his hand was. I think I would have discarded the other card to play the Y'shtola and kept the Shantoto. And then this is Richard really would have liked to have drawn a. Actually, I was going to say he would have liked to draw 7 there, but 7's irrelevant because none of his forwards except for Deuce are typos, so whatever. Yep, this Deuce
So
is
you
actually
going-
making all the difference in this game.
That's insane.
This
So
tiny
you go
little
in
one
with
cost.
Kemlin out first, and then you block with
Well, they're actually you don't.
Gallades?
I don't think you go in with Cam first because if Austin blocks with Galdas, Galdas can kill the Deuce, which then makes Ishtola and so here's how he does it. He gets king. He plays king off of 1 card.
Oh,
And he says Galdas can't block.
Assuming, well, I guess you haven't seen any typos,
Yep.
so he's got it. Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, so Ishtola can't sack to counter things. So
Wow.
now Galdas can't block, and now Deuce can't die, and now there's no way for him to survive this turn.
Oh,
There it is.
damn. That was a good game.
I actually just kept drawing into them. I was like,
Yep.
I was like, I can't.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's all it takes is just non-stop Ishtolas. Your opponent has to play 2 to 3 effects every
Oh,
turn to
yeah.
get through them and have any real like impact on the board. So if
That's
you can,
brutal.
it's kind of a similar situation to chaining any other of the really good 3-drops. You know, chaining Zidane's is similar. Where you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, I feel like I can't do anything.
Yep.
Chaining Ishtolas, oh, I can't do anything. Chaining even Locke or Sarah can have similar effects. All right, so we go to our
This is gonna
table
be-
2.
Whoa. All
We've
right.
got
we
Fire Ice
versus
for mono.
Fire. Either way, Fire is going to win. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. This is actually, it's funny to me because typically in the past, the way Mono Fire was built, Ice was at a huge disadvantage. And Justin wants to make sure he understands exactly what Neo Bahamut does. Yep. So
Alright.
Okay, so this is the last match.
I'm sad because it's been a lot of fun.
Ian decides to get Luna off of his march and then
Just to
immediately discard it to play Wall.
Yeah.
Now he knows he has a target if the Wall dies, which is important. He gets Aegis.
But there's a chance that maybe Justin is playing Exile on it.
He didn't stack the Belias on top there.
Interesting.
So now he has a potential to play a Sage, which I think may actually be the right call.
And that's
But
the
it-
one that
it's-
gives something haste, right?
Yeah, I think, but his choices are whether or not he wants to play the Sage or play the Godot or the playing Aegis right now does nothing, so he's not going to do that. But that's what he's trying to decide is if he wants to play this Sage and give March or Wall haste. Probably the March. Nope, he's going to play the Godot and try to
Yeah.
threaten serious pain next turn.
Yeah, it really puts Justin in a place where he has to use removal.
Yeah, and Ice doesn't have Fire Ice. Like, while it's got a lot of burn, a lot of interesting effects, it
It's-
doesn't usually have really good
It's like
turn 1, turn
unattackers,
2. Yeah. But what he does have in his hand is a Belias.
Ooh, you know what?
So if he can resolve even a 6k, but preferably a 7k, he can at least make this a very unfriendly attack for Ian. So he's got a lock.
He's got a lock.
and a
No
Belias, so
reason not to play just the lock.
I think he
not
wants to play a
gonna
backup
discard.
and the lock and then the Belias. But it looks
Mm.
like he's just going to do the lock
Yeah.
because he doesn't want to lose all his cards in hand
Yeah.
to do that. Discard lock to play lock. Nope, Gestalion. He may be willing to
that
take all this
feels
hit, all this
greedy.
damage.
That feels very greedy.
He's going to get Celis, so this is actually fine. It's not great, but it gets him the backups he wants. Like, Fire Ice really needs to have that Fire and Ice backup. So he can play Celis, freeze something to no effect, and then he has a Belias ready to protect her. And that would
feels risky.
That's going to cost him all his cards in hand if he gets to the point where he plays the Belias. But
But all he has to do is draw the Neo Bahamut and invalidate that whole.
a Neo Genesis is
Genesis is
so Genesis
more
is
than
much
enough.
better than Celis here.
Hit that wall.
Yeah, he'll dull freeze the wall
Yep.
or the Godot I think I might actually hit the Godot here, but well, no, because he has the Belias, so he wants Ian to attack with the Godot.
No, maybe. hit
Ian
the
actually,
Godot.
he didn't necessarily whiff because he can play the Soul, and he'll just attack with the Soul first because that's interesting. He wants to see what's there. Justin's gonna take the hit because he really wants to kill this Godot. Yep.
Hmm. The Power of Belias, man. That is a card that I know is good, but I never end up using
Yeah.
for whatever reason. But I see
Well,
how wrong I've been.
So you can really see Justin's priority there. He knows he can outsize these forwards.
Ooh, and then freezes the wall. He was planning that for a while.
So Ian's fine with taking a hit from Genesis because
Oh,
he has no
yeah.
cards in hand anyway.
Oh, yeah. That's a great feeling to be like, oh.
Party attack. He gets a last well. That's an important hit. He's going to lose a card to this Genesis. It's going to be a wall, so he doesn't care. Does he get an EX? Nope. He loses another
He
wall.
loses another wall. Oh, no.
Oh, he decided to keep the wall. Interesting. I think
Yeah,
against ice, I
I
wouldn't
think-
have bothered. Especially fire ice. Because if they resolve a last well, this wall is never going to untap. He's going to get Setzer for his lock.
Ooh.
Or is he going to get Celis?
He's got to sell us.
He's very worried about this Neo Bahamut.
Wow. I guess that's one of the only ways Ian really has a non-combat way of destroying stuff.
And it makes sense because actually lock is not that important here. Because locks, like you see with Genesis, it doesn't really matter that he's hitting Ian for cards that much. They're announcing the prizes, so we may get a spoiler on who wins here, actually.
Ooh.
I suspect it's going to be Justin. I think he's
Oh.
stabilized really well.
I don't know. Ian
But-
might be able to. I've seen Ian pull out some wins from some crazy situations.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to remember, he's running Belias too.
Yeah.
So Justin can get forced into some really unfavorable blocks here. That's why he
But with
wanted
that-
that Celis as well. He knows there's Belias, he knows there's Neo Bahamut.
But maybe it's not even for that. Maybe it's really just for the activate.
Maybe. That's also true.
Do you need a target for that?
So he attacks with the wall. Justin's making
Why
a decision
not?
here.
Yeah.
He's wondering whether or not he needs to worry about a Belias. And Ian would be fine with losing this wall.
Party attack coming in.
And now Justin gets to
Ooh.
draw a card.
That hurts. The draw card really hurts.
So
All right, what are you gonna play?
Ian, he's got a Meath. But Meath does, and he's got a Neo Bahamut. I think he's actually going to play the Neo Bahamut. Oh, he's going to play the
That's
Meath, discard the wool, but that's not going to do much. Like, you don't actually really... What do you get here? I guess Aegis? And just let it get discarded
Yeah.
so that you can get it back with Oh, you get a Godot. I think I would have got Aegis there because Genesis is going to make you discard it no matter what. So you get Aegis so that at least when Wall dies, you can play Aegis. If Wall ever dies, it doesn't just get frozen. No, he's happy with the decision to get the Godot.
Any high cost card, I feel like in this situation would be good to get. Because
Well,
you want to draw your like 2 costs off of your draw turn.
Yeah, he has to get a 4 cost because he discarded a 4 cost.
Oh
So Soul is a 7k as long as he has another Warrior of Light, which he does with one literally named Wall.
yeah.
So Celis gets in, can burn something for 4k. He'll hit the Soul. Attack with Genesis. Hit. Ian has to discard. Loses his Godot. Whoop, they missed their trigger. Okay.
What?
He's going to play a Duncan to do 4k more to Soul, and he's going to play a Lock, making him discard anyway. Yeah, this is not a position Ian wants to be in. I don't see any way out of this. His forwards get plus 2k right this turn, but he needs to leave this wall on defense most likely, and so he just doesn't have an attack here that's good. He attacks anyway,
Yeah.
just trying to get what he can. Furion, so of course he just loses another forward to another EX burst.
That sucks so hard. The plight of the weenie decks coming in.
So Furion's going to take out the smart call is to take out March. Yep,
Ah,
there you go.
That's the game.